because we got stuff going on, okay? Because House of the Dragon season 2, it's ramping up, my friend.
Well, they did the wrap party. It sounds like they wrapped filming and everything, and they did a cast and crew party on this past Sunday on the 19th. We're recording on the 20th, and supposedly there were some pictures going around on Twitter that looked pretty cool.
Mhm.
And the cast just seems excited, and a lot of people who are talking about the screeners, like we talked about last week, are getting very excited. I would love to know what they're seeing. Like, is it episode 1? Is it clips? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know. I found this Steve Toussaint, I think is how you announce him. He's the actor who plays Corlys Velaryon. He shared this picture. They're all kind of sharing little stuff. So we actually get to see so it says there's 7 episodes. I thought they said there was going to be 8. But that doesn't mean that we know. But anyway, it shows the directors for some of the episodes. So some of these names I feel like we've seen before. There are 8. There are 8 episodes because some people directed multiple ones.
You scared me there.
Sorry, yes, looking it up here, I see, because I saw episode 2.07 as the last one there. But so yeah, we know officially there's going to be 8. They kind of talked about it a little bit, but I was looking up some of these directors here. So the one who directed episode 2 or season 2 episode 7, which is always kind of, that second to last episode in House of the Dragon and in Game of Thrones, is always kind of like a crazy one to kind of leave things off. I'm looking this guy up here, Lonnie Perstier. He's from Boston, but he's directed like a lot of episodes of things. I'm seeing like American Horror Story, some show called Warrior. I'm kind of unfamiliar.
Oh yeah, Warrior is very, very, very well received.
And he directed a couple episodes of season 3 of The Witcher, which I haven't watched because once I heard Henry Cavill was out, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But Outcast is on there, Banshee, Code Black. So some shows I'm kind of unfamiliar with, but yeah, I mean, he's directed some episodes of The Witcher, so I'm looking forward.
And Warrior's been, I mean, very, very popular. People who watch it absolutely rave about it. So I think there's some really cool talent that they brought in for season 2. So we can expect even better things going into season 2, and knowing that, that we're going to settle into the story and not have all these timeline jumps. I think it's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah. Some of the other directors here, Geeta Patel, directed an episode of House of the Dragon last season. Did the Lord of the Tides episode, also did Ahsoka. So yeah, so there's definitely some. I'm going to pull up some of these other people here too, just to see what else they've worked on here. But I mean, what do we think about the 8 episodes? We talked about that a while back when it was first announced, but now that it's kind of being brought up again, Jimmy, good, bad, what are we thinking?
I think it's fine. I mean, I don't believe that HBO is sitting there telling them they can't have 10. I think they probably thought, okay, well, if we bring it down from 10 to 8, which, we say 10, but that may never have been the original plan. Like, a lot of people speak about that as if we went from 10 to 8 because season 1 was 10, but maybe the plan all along was to do 8 for season 2. But it means more money per episode, which is usually a good thing. But I trust Ryan Condell and George to make that call. And it seems like it was their call for where they wanted to end season 2. Like, it all came down to where they wanted season 2 to end to pick up season 3. And they felt like the 8 episodes were where they wanted to be. And does this mean that maybe some of the things aren't going to be as fleshed out? And when I say fleshed out, I mean, nothing is really fleshed out in Fire and Blood. It is very much, a summary of what has happened. But I think, the points that we get will be expanded on, but we're not going to probably see big swaths of side material. I think it's going to revolve around the conflict that we have in Fire and Blood, and a lot more time being put into the personal conversations around that.
Yeah, so here we go. So Alan Taylor is directing episodes 1 and episode 4, and we kind of have already been told, it seems like all the rumors and everything are saying that Blood and Cheese is going to be in episode 1, which is kind of like, to me, one of the most crazy moments
yes.
in in the Fire and Blood, World of Ice and Fire, you know, the story that's going to be House of the Dragon. We don't have to go deeper into that if we don't want to necessarily spoil it for people who may be coming and checking this as spoiler free. But I mean, it's up there with some of the other moments. Now, actually, if you looking at this, Alan Taylor's directing, he has directed some pretty massive episodes of things. Directed like half of the final season of The Sopranos, directed like a bunch of episodes of The Sopranos, as well as like some big episodes of The West Wing, Rome, Mad Men, and did a lot of directing in Game of Thrones, including season 1, episode 9, Baelor. Pretty big episode. Season 1, episode 10, season 2, episode 1, The North Remembers. Episode, so in season 2 did episode 1, episode 2, episode 8, and episode 10. So directed like almost all of season 2 of Game of Thrones, and then came back and did season 7, episode 6, Beyond the Wall, which, you know, for the final seasons, at least like from a directing standpoint, pretty crazy, right? I mean, that's where we lose the dragon and everything. I mean, pretty insane episode there. So I mean, that's getting me excited, because that tells me episode 1 we already know is going to be big, but what's that say about episode 4?
Yeah, and you know, episode 4 being humongous is all obviously important because it's that mid-season climax type deal. But I think the reason why Blood and Cheese is going to be episode 1, and I was kind of a part of the crowd that was like, well, isn't that a little early, or like, you know, should we save that for the big moment? But I actually don't think so. I think that Blood and Cheese will be the tone setter for season 2, and a lot of what gets us to the mid-season climax will be the fallout of said event. Even though season 1 clearly had a pretty big exclamation point for an ending. I believe it's been confirmed that the opening scene will be in Winterfell, which me and you predicted would probably be the case. I don't think that's a crazy big prediction, but we were right. I think you'll see a dragon flying over Winterfell, which is just, man, seeing Winterfell again will be everything.
Yeah. I'm excited for it, because I think it's going to I think it's the perfect way to start that episode is with Winterfell, and the perfect way to end it is with Blood and Cheese, because for a season 2 opener, everyone's going to be watching it on HBO. You are going to have Twitter and everything just going absolutely nuts. So I think it's like the perfect way to get that, and it's like it's one, that hook to get you in right at the beginning, and then also the hook to be like, wow, I can't wait for next week. Like,
I think it's going to be one of the top trending moments, you know, in the Game of Thrones universe. And what it will do is it'll make everybody be able to say, like, not only is House of the Dragon back, but Game of Thrones is back, yada, yada. Same thing that we saw kind of with season 1, but maybe to a bigger effect. And I think the show is going to be better. I mean, I usually these things, they learn lessons, they tighten things up. They brought back a lot of people that were successful in season 1, and then added a lot more talent, which is always a good thing. And also a lot of the effort to get set pieces done and whatnot. Those things are already done, and they've done them once. So it allows a lot more opportunity and money to go towards other things. So I'm so excited, man. And I heard today is Monday. I had heard that a trailer could be dropping as soon as today. I also heard some people saying that it might drop on Thanksgiving, which is exciting. I think we're gonna get a trailer by the latest next Monday, but it could be tonight during Monday Night Football, or it could be, you know, later in the week.
Yeah. I feel like we'd know if it was Monday night. I know I told you right before this it could be come out. I feel like they're going to do the same thing. I've been reading about that too. I've been in the like wikis or the Reddits all day, and some people were saying that because the press has seen the trailer for it, and all the internal rumors and everything of that, it looks awesome and it looks amazing. And so I guess that they had shown that to the press like 4 months before we saw it. Remember, it just dropped in like in October or something. It was around like this time, and it just dropped. It was like a Thursday, I remember. And I think I skipped work that day. I was like, I'm sick. Sick of having to go to work and not being able to record episodes.
I hope your supervisor isn't listening.
I don't work there anymore. Okay.
All right, let's go.
I work at a different job now. I don't even work there. I technically have Thursday scheduled off now. So anyway, yeah, it's too important. So it is, that these are the things.
I mean, hey, I'm not holding it against you.
Yeah. So now they're saying, well, if that's the case, then we might not see it until February. Like if it were to continue that trend where they get it a couple months ahead of time. So if you do the math, that would be February. Well, what happens in February? Another big event,
With Super Bowl.
Super Bowl
We had
Sunday.
actually remember we had speculated that the first season of House of the Dragon would be advertised during the Super Bowl during like an HBO feature, and it really wasn't, which we thought was a
Mhm.
big miss. And I remember me and you were a little bit. I think this was before I joined the show technically, but I remember us
Yeah.
talking in a chat, and I was kind of like, "This makes me slightly nervous of what's going on."
Yeah. Well, and some of that was when AT&T and Warner Brothers were doing the like spin-off buying,
Hmm.
merging Discovery Warner Brothers. And so some of the things
Also,
now
wasn't coming out to August, so that's
wasn't
different than this
yeah.
time.
Yeah, which may be coming out. It still says summer, we don't know, but maybe coming out in like June
June,
or
July, it seems to
July,
be. Yeah.
even like earlier in the summer. Yeah, so that could be a different story. But before that, it was like, well, they're trying to save money for the merger and have the balance sheet all right. So, Super Bowl commercials are expensive.
That's what I hear.
So yeah, millions of dollars.
Did our ad get accepted or no?
Maybe we can get one for the podcast. That'd be
God
great.
damn it.
That'd be great if we could get one, a Super Bowl commercial. But this year's different. Now they've been there for a while, and HBO is destroying it with pretty much every show they make. So maybe we will get a Super Bowl commercial. That'd be exciting because that's like the most hype of any commercial you're gonna get all year.
Yeah, I just wonder if HBO feels like it'd be worth it because they are so expensive. But I think it's more likely for it to happen this time than it was last time, just because of the timetables. But there's a chance, I guess, that we will get a trailer this week. I mean, that's certainly possible. But I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, hey, I wanted to pull something else I have pulled up here. Again, this is from Reddit today, and this is from like a leaker, pretty known leaker in the Reddit community, and everyone seems to sort of say, "Hey, this is pretty good." So this is potential spoilers. I mean, we know it's coming, but I want to throw that out there as potential spoilers because we're actually going to talk a little bit about the content of it. So if you don't want to know,
Yeah, Fire and Blood spoilers, future House of the Dragon spoilers. Beware.
Yeah, so a big event. I didn't really know. We know it probably was coming this season. Seems a little early, but they're saying it's going to be episode 2 is going to be, how in the main series we have Clegane Bowl. Well, there's another bowl that takes place in House of the Dragon, Fire and Blood, which is Cargill Bowl. Some of the rumors and leaks are saying it's going to be episode 2.
Interesting. I don't have a problem with them moving that up because as it is a big personal event, but I don't think it's like series defining. You know what I mean? I think that they can kind of pick
Yeah.
and choose where they want to do that. And I think
People
it gives a
people don't even really
backbone.
people don't even really know these characters yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we saw them like once or twice, and
Yeah, I
it's kind of like,
remember
yeah,
people getting kind of into it, like remembering them. I think they
when
had like 2 or 3 really good spots. So, getting that out of the way early, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It could be a bridge also between like first episode to mid-season.
yeah, I think it's okay. But, we have to see the timeline of how they're doing this because I think, obviously season one's timeline is crazy because it's all over the place and that it jumps a lot. I mean, it's still going in the right direction. Some things were kind of a little out of place, but obviously, like what's his name? It totally dies, and they're keeping him around. So the Lord Commander of the how am I blanking on his name? By McTavish, what's his name? And I'm blanking on his character, but he dies, and they're keeping him. So they are changing some things around a little bit here. But I think if you're by doing that here, by having this take place in like episode 2, you are going to sort of showcase, hey, like this is like a legit civil war. We're gonna see brother versus brother fight. Like it's gonna be a pretty big deal here. So I think that's gonna be kind of cool by actually having that in like episode 2, especially if we get blood and cheese in episode 1. That's a huge moment, and then we get another one here too. I mean, I'm sure they'll do it justice, but I think that's kind of, like Clegane Bowl was like at the end,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, okay, we've been waiting for this whole time. It's been built up, and I kind of felt like its significance didn't really matter as much as I do think, we talk about the books that it's going to matter in the books, but I think this will be a little bit different because this is more to sort of showcase, hey, this is what this series is still going to be about.
and you're right. It's showing the cost of civil war, and maybe what elevates a civil war far past just normal war is the fact that you're fighting brother, brother, sister, sister, neighbor, neighbor. The Lord Commander of the Kingsguard is Harold Westerling.
Westerling, right? Yeah, House Westerling. Yeah. But he dies in the books, and they kept him.
I'm glad they kept him around because I like the actor.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's absolutely great. So yeah, so really right now there's a lot coming out, honestly, about House of the Dragon and everything. And we'll be doing news as we continue our reread and stuff like that. It's just a little like, it's kind of hard to tell right now because so much stuff's coming out. You kind of have to kind of vet it a little bit. But it seems like now the actors and stuff are beginning to show production stuff. And a lot of it's just like, hey, I was in House of the Dragon. That's all they can say, or whatever that we're getting on there.
Yeah, no major recast. Let's also point that out for season 2, which is really great. We got through the whole thing and there wasn't these big, disputes or character changes or whatever. So that's always a good thing too, because most shows, even the original Game of Thrones, went through that at some points. So
yeah. And there's a lot of I'm just looking through some of the pictures here on Reddit, and they're showing so many small details. Like here, I'll get this one pulled up here. Let me add this into the screen here. So just stuff like this where it's like, oh, and look, the high tower thing is kind of incorporated with like the Targaryen banner. So like some of it's like small little costume and like set piece stuff that they're showing, which is kind of cool. Which because I mean, one of the best things you and I talked about. We were talking about this. I think it was last Thursday. You and I were doing a hangout with some of our other bannermen, and we were watching the football game. We were talking about like Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings, and how like the worlds that they created on TV didn't have that same. It felt kind of inconsistent. Whereas with like Game of Thrones and House of Dragon, like you immediately are like, oh yeah, and a lot of that comes down to so much to set pieces. And
the aesthetic. There was no aesthetic to those shows that felt like it was prominent, and then you don't get that for lack of a better term, vibe of the show. Whereas in even House of the Dragon having its own thing. I mean, it definitely went a little bit more colorful, I thought, but you could still tell it's Westeros, and that kind of stuff really matters with branding.